if somebody posts negatively about you on Twitter, does that mean you should shut everything down? Well, not necessarily. Not if the majority of the responses are positive and you're growing your business using cold email.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jeremy, founder of QuickMail.io.
Hey, and this is Jack from emailsthatsell.com.
Are you afraid of all the bad things that could happen to you and your business by trying cold email? Well, it's good because you should be. In this episode, Jack and I are going to rack our brain to figure out the worst possible thing that could happen when using cold email, and unfortunately, we did find a few nasty ones. So keep calm and cold email the right way. Enjoy. Can cold email ever backfire?
Yeah, we're going to talk about the bad stuff behind cold emailing. You know, the dark side, what happens when things goes wrong.
Well, I just ask you, can email ever backfire? It's just a yes or no simple question, right, Jack?
You're cutting straight to it. I'm going to say yes. Cold email can certainly backfire.
All right, done. That's it. Great cast, Jack.
Hey, great cast. We're having fun here, but let's talk about this for a second. When can cold email backfire if we both agree that it can?
Yeah, I think it's a yes for me too. Clear, short answer. It's yes for sure.
Okay.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have this cast. You know, everyone will be doing it great and there will be no problem.
That's very true. So here we are. I think it can backfire for a number of reasons, but I've identified 4 big areas that you need to worry about.
Nice. I got 3.
You got 3.
Can't wait to hear your ones.
Well, I got 4, so I'll kick things off. Cold email can backfire, first and foremost, if you're in a small market. Say you only have 100 people to go after, and you do a very poor job reaching out. You only get one chance to make a first impression, right? So...
Well, you can always change the name of your business, and then off you go. You got a second chance. Same product.
I suppose that's
name.
Correct. But what a pain in the ass. So you don't want that to happen. If you're in a small market, I'm talking about hundreds of customers, potentially. Yeah, cold email can backfire because you can burn your way through that list very quickly. And if you are overselly, if your tone is aggressive, people aren't going to want to work with you most of the time. So be careful, small markets.
Yeah, and a note I want to make on this one is that it's not the fault of cold email itself. It's more the approach of how you're doing cold email in this specific case.
Right. So you can approach and delight a small market with cold email.
Yeah, you can still do cold email and have a great result. So it's
true.
Necessarily the cold email in itself, but it's something to pay attention to for sure.
Yeah. It also is important to say that if you've got a large market, you still need to be aware of the impression you're leaving on your prospects if you want success. We're just talking about backfiring, meaning worse than no response. We're talking about actually pulling your business in the wrong direction. And it really happens when you've got a small market. Jeremy, what's on your list?
Well said. My first point is the biggest one is obviously you get sued. You know, you got fined by GDPR or Canada anti-spam law or CAN-SPAM. Even the new California rule that is going to be put in that is going to be, I've been told, very close to the GDPR.
Right.
So yeah, that's probably the worst thing that could happen with cold email. You cold email someone unsolicited. You don't have a process to argue legitimate interest. So yeah, that could potentially be quite bad for your business. Yeah, sure.
I agree. And if we can just quickly recap, I think GDPR throws around fines of like up to 25 million, something like this.
Yeah, or 4% of your gross revenue, something like that.
Whichever is larger, I believe.
Yeah. Yes, that's
something
right.
Insane. 25 million pounds. So thanks, GDPR. That's certainly a backfire. That one gets my stamp of approval.
Oh, nice.
Okay, let's carry on here. I've got another one. Cold email can backfire if you're cold emailing your current customers and you're mentioning something that they're not aware of yet, such as different pricing that you're offering for new customers. Can you imagine that backfire?
I can imagine, yeah. It's like ordering your meal and with extra hot sauce on it.
That is a good thing to me. But
anyway,
if you're, I don't know, if you got ulcers, I guess so. But okay, here's the thing. It's very easy to not make this mistake. Just have a do not contact list and keep a fresh list of the customers you have on that do not contact, and you don't have to worry.
Actually, that's a good point. Coming back to the first point I mentioned about getting sued or fined, how do we avoid that, Jack?
Well, you can start by staying away from Europe and Canada, right?
Yeah, some people do actually.
Yeah, you can read through the laws very carefully with your very sharp lawyer alongside of you and try and map out your own legal procedure.
You mean your cousin?
Yeah, right.
Or your brother-in-law?
I don't know, right, something. Or stay inside the house and don't leave. Leave your laptop closed and don't send a single email. That's a pretty surefire way not to get in trouble.
Okay. So the can spam is pretty relaxed and pretty chilled. You just need to not impersonate someone you're not, put your physical address, and make sure you provide a way of unsubscribing to whoever you're contacting. So I think that's pretty much some of the big three that you need to look at.
So that's helpful, but there's still more ways that cold email can backfire.
Yep.
You got another one on your list ready to go.
Yeah, you got my contacting existing clients. So the next one I'm going to say is getting your domain blacklisted. Simple as that is that, that's all good. And, but, if you want to contact your existing customer, that may be hard if your domain has been blacklisted.
Very true. So what we're talking about here is you send enough volume of poor quality cold emails. And if enough prospects flag you as spam, you got that button over every single email you open, then it could be a very long time until your actual colleagues or customers get your emails in the inbox when you send messages. Burning a domain is certainly a side effect of poor cold emailing or even just high volume cold emailing. So let's be aware of that. There's tools that we can use to check how our deliverability, how our reputation is going. Google attempted to release a tool called Google Postmasters, and it's not helpful for us cold emailers. It's more of like the bulk senders, traditional email marketers. But my favorite tool to find out how deliverability, how my domain health is check your open rates on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, I like that. One other thing you may want to do if you want some immediate tests is you could go to mxtoolbox.com and you go to blacklist and you enter the name of your domain. Usually what happens for blacklist is you have two types of blacklist. You have the one that is blacklisting you based on the name, so name of your domain. Or if you have links to your domain, inside the text, then that may actually be marked as spam. But also the IP behind the domain. So for example, if you go to, domain.com, that will actually get resolved into an IP to go to your domain.com. And that IP sometimes rotates because you're being hosted, for example, on WP Engine or some other hosting provider like GoDaddy and things like that. And they have a certain number of IPs, and sometimes those IP are also blacklisted. So you have to be conscious about the fact that it could be your IP or your name. But MX Toolbox is a great tool for telling you that, and you can take it from here, basically.
Super. So I've got only one more on my list because burning your domain was number 3 on mine. Well said, though.
Woo.
Here's my final way that you can have cold email backfire in your business. Let's say you reach out to somebody who is industry famous. Maybe they have access to many of the same people that you want to contact and win over as customers. And if you contact that person with overly aggressive tone or you catch them on a bad day, they can blow you up on Twitter and put a screenshot of your cold email and kind of draw a lot of negative attention to your brand. Probably not the best, but then again, they say any PR is good PR. I'm not sure, but I would classify that as having cold email backfire.
It's a very great point, being aware of your brand. Good one.
Any others on your list, Jeremy?
No, I think that's a big one. So if you stay away from those 4, 5, 6 ones, then I think you're in good shape.
But before we leave today, big question we have to ask is, all this said, some people may decide cold email isn't worth it. But there's kind of an approach that we've come back to on the cast a couple of times to figure out if a campaign should be continued or not. And that comes back to not necessarily the negative replies you're getting, but the overall positive impact it's having on your ROI. That, I think, is the best determining factor to help you decide to carry on or not. In other words, if somebody posts negatively about you on Twitter, does that mean you should shut everything down? Well, not necessarily. Not if the majority of the responses are positive and you're growing your business. using cold email, you know?
Yeah, totally. And it could be in a case of your domain being blacklisted or people flagging you as spam. You may have a positive ROI and then still having, your domain getting burned. So I think in that case, I will review my list and make sure that I actually do contact only the people that were interested and find a common ground between all the people who were interested, so that the next time I send things, there is a higher chance of people not flagging me as spam, but being interested.
Yeah, very true. And also, if you know you're going to be sending a high volume of cold email, maybe just set up a separate domain just for cold emailing.
That's right.
That can be an easy fix right there. So this is the scary stuff, but hopefully as a cold email outreach listener, you're several steps beyond having any of this happen to you. You're sending cold email like the good guys do and actually making your prospects stay with your message.
All right. So short cast today, Jack? Short
and sweet, and hopefully helpful for figuring out if cold email can backfire or not. Great cast, Jim.
Great cast, Jack.
Let's quickly recap with a list of the ways that cold email can backfire on your business. First, if you have a small market, you can burn through it using poor messaging in your cold emails. Next, you could lose a current customer if you share different pricing plans, for example, in a cold email campaign that they received. Next, you could get your company some negative PR if an industry famous prospect posts your cold email online and rants about it. A couple more, you could get sued because of laws like GDPR or the Canada anti-spam law. And finally, cold email, when done incorrectly, could make your domain blacklisted because of too many spam complaints. Scary stuff, to be sure. So make sure you take the steps needed to reduce these threats so that cold email doesn't backfire on you. Hey, cold emailer.
Yeah, you.
If you got some value from this episode, give us a high vibe by sharing a 2-sentence review on iTunes.
Or Stitcher, or TuneIn. That works too.
It's a quick way to help other growth-minded folks like us find this podcast,
so they can send awesome emails
and make everyone's inbox a better place. Thanks.